Okay, so let's talk about something very, very interesting, namely MAGA. But I'm not gonna talk about politics in that regard, although it will touch for sure on political subjects. Now, the term MAGA, Make America Great Again, if you extrapolate that line of thought into any sort of society, it doesn't really matter whether it's, I don't know, the United States of America, Great Britain, Mongolia, South Africa, Thailand, Canada, any country at all. Make XYZ country or make X great again, MXGA. And then you don't even have to think about countries either. You can think about towns, cities, communities, anywhere there is a group of people living together, even if it's just the street down the block from where you live, all the neighbors in, I don't know, in the apartment building where you live, or if you're living in like a suburban, what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, if you're living in like in suburban environment, all the neighbors down the street where you live, anywhere there's a group of people who, whilst they might not know each other, they certainly sort of like are related to each other because they live and work predominantly at the same place. And so if you want to make that place great again, or if you want to improve that place, one way to do so is to build or is to have less losers. Because if there's losers, if everyone is a loser where you live, things are going to end up bad. There's going to be more drug use. There's going to be more gang violence. People are going to go to prison. People surely aren't going to make money. Everything is just going to go down in a downward spiral. You know, these so-called hoods. Full confession, I've never even been to a hood, so I'm not going to talk like I know this. But let's just say that things aren't too bright there, right? Because things are going well. It's called the hood for a reason. The projects, the ghettos. A lot of these guys, and let's talk about guys. Let's talk about the men for a moment. And it doesn't really matter whether it is the ghettos or any other suburban, or excuse me, a normal suburban environment or some sort of an apartment building. There's a lot of losers today amongst young men, especially those who withdraw, who sit in front of a computer all day, playing video games, eating what's it called? Cheetos. I think we don't have these things in my country, so I don't even know what a Cheeto is, but I don't know, potato chips for comparison. And they don't do anything about their lives because they blame society, they blame women, they blame the other sex, and there are these gender wars going on. Now, again, I'm not going to go into the political debate about this, but it's interesting to talk about because financially, when you have a lot of losers, the entire society will lose because the next generation of people, they're not coming out to work. Imagine being 45 and you're living at home with your mother in the same room where you grew up. You're living in your boys' room at 45 with your mother or maybe father. These are elderly people now, and soon the window has closed for you to move out because somebody needs to start take care of them. What are you doing with your life, really? The worst part is I actually know about people like this in my own personal life. No, I'm not gonna give out details, obviously. But let's just say I know about people like that in my own life. And I'm sure there are some viewers here who do the same thing. Adult men living at home, blaming women, blaming society, blaming everything for what's wrong, instead of actually growing up here, getting out of their comfort zone and trying and failing. That's how you create less losers. When the boys actually start trying, yeah, they will fail. Yeah, they will embarrass themselves. Yeah, they risk getting, excuse me, they risk look, excuse me, they risk looking stupid. That was the phrase I wanted to say. They risk looking stupid for a little while, or whilst they're failing. And that's fine because that's part of life. But you'll never grow up if all you do is retreat into the comforts of your own childhood home and you blame the rest of the world. Bottom line is, how do you create less losers financially? Well, you force them out of the house and force them to take a job. That's it. And in order to do so, you need to learn sales, persuasion, and business. If you want to learn more about this sort of stuff, then I recommend that you subscribe to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description wherever you're watching and or listening to this, and I'll see you there.